Welcome to the Global Reader. Close your eyes for a moment and try to picture the longest thing ever built by human hands. It is not a modern highway, a skyscraper, or a bridge. It is a serpentine stone dragon winding its way across Gargantuan mountains and desolate plains, a structure so vast it defies belief, the Great Wall of China. Today, we embark on an ambitious journey to understand this monumental edifice, focusing not just on the history of battles fought upon its crenellated parapets, but on the unfathomable humane and logistical complexity required to bring it to life. This is a story of scale, vision, and the unyielding labor of millions. Our English focus today is mastering the vocabulary of scale and size. When describing something as truly enormous as the Great Wall, everyday adjectives are not enough. We need words that convey its immensity, its unprecedented length, and the formidable challenges overcome in its construction. As we travel along the wall in this narrative, we will integrate and explain key terms that will give your English the precision needed to discuss any large-scale project, structure, or natural expanse. Pay close attention to these bolded terms. They are essential lexicon for describing the magnitude of the world. Chapter 1. The Fragmented Genesis. From earthen ramparts to consolidated defense, the popular image of the Great Wall, a continuous, tall stone wall, is actually misleading. The wall is not a single structure built at one time. Instead, it is a vast systemic network of walls, fortifications, trenches, and natural barriers, constructed over a period spanning more than 2 millennia, from the 7th century BC to the 17th century. Earliest genesis of the wall can be traced back to the pre-imperial Warring States period, centuries before China was unified. During this fragmented era, individual states built their own defensive walls, often made of tamped earth and gravel, not stone, to protect themselves from their neighboring states and from nomadic tribes to the north. These alliances were local, short, and focused on immediate, specific threats. They were functional, but certainly not yet monumental. The first true leap in scale and scope came with the rise of Qin Shi Huang in 221 BC. As the first emperor of a unified China, his ambition was immense and unprecedented. He faced the problem of the northern frontier, where the Xiongnu nomadic tribes posed a constant, formidable threat to his newly consolidated empire. To address this, he ordered the linking and extension of the pre-existing fragmented walls into a single, long defensive line. This initial consolidation was a brutal logistical challenge. The wall's earth and timber were straightened and reinforced, stretching for thousands of miles across mountains and deserts. The sheer magnitude of this undertaking in the 3rd century BC, without modern machinery or transport, is almost unfathomable. The labor was drawn from soldiers, peasants, and convicts, often working in brutal conditions. This initial perimeter of defense established the basic north-south demarcation line that would define China's frontier for centuries to come. However, the Qin Wall was largely a dirt and gravel structure. Much of it has vanished today, eroded by wind and rain, leaving behind only the lowest foundation mounds. The most visually striking stone expanse we know today, the sections with the watchtowers and steps, belongs to a much later, even more ambitious construction period, the Ming Dynasty. Chapter 2. The Ming Blueprint. Unparalleled architectural complexity. The vast majority of the majestic stone wall visible today was constructed or significantly rebuilt during the Ming Dynasty, which ruled China from the 14th to the 17th centuries. The Ming emperors inherited a centuries-old problem, but they brought a new, unparalleled resolve and architectural blueprint to the solution. The Ming Wall was not a rush job. It was a multi-generational, carefully planned project designed to be permanent. The scope of the Ming project was truly colossal, involving the transition from earthen ramparts to solid, fired brick and stone masonry built to withstand cannon fire. Let us examine the wall's architectural complexity. Unlike the simply earthen mounds of the Qin era, the Ming Wall was a highly intricate system of specialized structures. The main body, averaging 25 feet, 7.6 meters, high and 15 to 30 feet, 4.6 to 9.1 meters, wide at the base, it provided a massive, elevated roadway for transporting troops and supplies. The parapets, along the top edge, the wall featured crenellated parapets, low protective walls with openings, the crenelles, through which soldiers could fire upon attackers while remaining partially protected. Watchtowers. Strategically placed every few hundred yards, these two-story stone towers served multiple purposes. They were garrison posts, signaling stations, using smoke or fire, and storage depots. The sheer number of these fortifications is astounding, a true display of the systemic organization behind the defense. Signal towers. These were built not only along the wall, but also deep into the interior, extending the range of communication. If an attack began, the message could span thousands of miles in mere hours via this coordinated network. The materials used were revolutionary. Instead of relying on unstable earth, the Ming builders used millions upon millions of specially fired bricks, which were incredibly heavy and durable. In some sections, the masonry was bonded not just with mortar, but with a highly sticky mixture of slaked lime and rice flour, creating a material stronger than the stone itself. Chapter 3. The arduous logistical challenge. To truly grasp the magnitude of the Great Wall, one must consider the logistical challenge of its construction. The wall spans approximately 130,000 miles, 21,000 kilometers, in all its branches, extending across some of the most inaccessible and rugged terrain in Asia. Imagine building a stone highway hundreds of miles long, not on flat ground, but up and down the steep slopes of the Yanshan and Taihang Mountains. The labor required was unfathomable by any standard, requiring manpower on a scale that is utterly unprecedented in human history. Estimates suggest millions of workers were involved over the centuries, with hundreds of thousands losing their lives due to exhaustion, injury, and disease. Transportation alone was a formidable obstacle. How do you move tons of stone and brick to the top of a mountain range? Human power. Most materials were simply carried by human hands or by wheelbarrows and baskets strapped to the backs of men and women. Simple machines. Where the incline was too steep, simple pulley systems, ropes, and goat carts were employed. In some regions, goats or oxen were used to drag sleds loaded with stones up the slopes. The material dilemma. In the rugged sections, the builders cleverly used local resources. In mountain areas, they quarried the granite. In the desert expanse of the west, where stone was inaccessible, they reverted to ancient methods, using layers of tamped earth, reeds, and willow branches to construct durable, though less visually impressive, sections. The sheer magnitude of the raw materials is staggering. The volume of earth, stone, and brick used is so colossal that it could theoretically build a wall 8 feet high and 3 feet thick all the way around the equator of the Earth. The scale of the effort was not just difficult, it was incredibly arduous, a permanent testament to the ruthless efficiency of the imperial state. The construction process was characterized by a systemic approach. Different sections were often built by different regional armies and labor groups, each adhering to the overall blueprint, but using the best available local materials and techniques. This regional variation in the masonry is why the wall looks so different from one province to the next, ranging from vast stone fortresses to simple dirt trenches. Chapter 4. Purpose beyond the perimeter. A systemic demarcation. The enduring legacy of the Great Wall is often simplified as a single military defense system against nomadic raiders. While defense was its primary purpose, its scope extended far beyond simple protection. It was a complex, multifunctional border control system that defined the identity of China. Firstly, the wall was a massive communication artery. The wide top of the wall served as a road, allowing the rapid deployment of troops, horses, and supplies, a crucial advantage over the uncoordinated tribal forces. The entire length of the wall functioned as a military highway, allowing imperial forces to span the frontier quickly and efficiently. Secondly, and perhaps more importantly, the wall was a political demarcation line. Demarcation is the setting of a boundary or limit, and the wall served to physically separate the agrarian society of China from the pastoral nomadic world to the north. It was a symbol of civilization versus wilderness, creating a psychological and cultural barrier as much as a physical one. The wall also controlled trade and migration. At strategic points, larger gatehouses were built, functioning as customs and immigration checkpoints. These gatehouses, often the most massive and intricate pieces of architectural complexity, regulated the movement of goods and people, acting as the official boundary of the imperial state. This tight control over the perimeter was key to maintaining economic stability within the empire. In the end, while the wall did not completely stop every invasion, it was breached several times throughout history. Its enduring legacy lies in its successful definition of a unified China. The colossal scale and unfathomable labor invested in this gargantuan expanse cemented a collective identity and helped stabilize the empire for centuries. The sheer magnitude of this unprecedented edifice continues to inspire awe today, reminding us of the limits of human ambition and the arduous price paid for permanent security. Whether viewed as a successful defense system or a monument to forced labor, the Great Wall remains the most vast and potent symbol of Chinese history. Conclusion: mastering the vocabulary of immensity, the Great Wall is the gargantuan result of centuries of unyielding labor, a truly unprecedented feat of engineering. The colossal expanse spans thousands of miles of rugged terrain, and its sheer magnitude makes it a formidable and enduring legacy. For English learners, you have now mastered crucial vocabulary for scale and size. You can use immense or vast to describe larger spaces, and colossal or gargantuan for objects of extreme size. When discussing difficult tasks, use arduous for the effort and logistical for the planning. And when something is truly hard to understand, unfathomable is the perfect word to convey that depth. Keep using these words to make your descriptions of the world as powerful as the Great Wall itself.